everybody, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are going to be watching episodes 118 and 119 of Bleach. So the last few episodes, we've kind of been getting to this boiling point. We're like slowly building up all of these conflicts and establishing what our main characters are capable of versus what their adversaries are capable of, and building up to this kind of crescendo moment, which makes me a little bit tired just thinking about what we might be getting ourselves into. I just maybe slightly up. So last episode, we had a bunch of the Arrancar coming to Ichigo's hometown, despite what was sort of discussed between them and Aizen beforehand. We got introduced to a bunch of new characters, and I'm not going to remember all their names because it's a lot. I just got used to remembering like captains and lieutenants during the Soul Society arc, and now I'm just being given a bunch of new names. So forgive me as I slowly find my bearings with that. But we did have Grimjo, who seems to be a bit of a fan favorite, a bit of a crowd pleaser, in that I got a bunch of comments purely about him when I posted my last video. So we've got him showing up. I really like his character design. I think he looks really cool. I don't know how I feel about him as character, because he's, working for Aizen. Seems a little bit aggressive in general, but he has shown up, and we ended off with him kind of picking a fight with Ichigo and Rukia. Now, before I get into all that, let's talk about Rukia and the fact that she's like got her Soul Reaper powers back, and she's got a Zanpakuto, and she's like fighting and showing off her abilities. I love that. I love that Rukia is like back to more of her normal self, and she gets to like really show what she's capable of, because even back during the first arc we didn't really get to see any of that because she gave her power to Ichigo really early on. So it's great that we're finally getting a chance to see what she's like as a Soul Reaper, and she's a really cool Zanpakuto that is able to freeze within like this circle. She makes the circle, and she's able to freeze whatever's within it and beat one of the Arrancar, who apparently wasn't that powerful according to the other Arrancar, but I'm still super proud of her for being able to do that, for taking him on by herself and winning. So we had her doing that, and then meeting up again with Ichigo, which is when Grimjo showed up to pick a fight with them. But we also went and we're seeing Ikkaku, who is also fighting one of these Arrancar, and it looks like that's probably where we're going to be focusing for this next episode, 118 at least. We're going to be seeing his fight, which, I mean, I haven't gotten to see Ikkaku really fight since he was fighting Ichigo, so I assume he's got some other tricks that he's kind of been working on, and mostly I just like Ikkaku. And he has all of this kind of like honor and like etiquette when it comes to fighting that is just, it makes me smile. I love him. And one of the things that we kind of had a revelation with was that Asuna, Ichigo's classmate that we've seen a little bit of since the first arc, has some kind of spirit pressure. Now, someone told me in the comments that might be somewhat linked to something that happened during the Bound arc, which I haven't seen because I skipped over it. But it's also, like, it kind of makes sense because there's all this implication that because Ichigo has so much spirit pressure himself, that he's, like, having an effect on the people around him. Like, it's kind of, like, leaking out into, like, a radius of spirit pressure-ness around him. So it kind of makes sense that another one of his friends would have some kind of effect from that, but it definitely paints him as a target for these Arrancar, which are really just going after anyone who has any kind of spirit pressure. We had a little bit of a moment between Sado and Ichigo because Ichigo showed up to help Sado or save him, and kind of had to tell Sado to not get involved with the fight because he wasn't powerful enough. And definitely after seeing his friends get hurt, I think Ichigo is far more hesitant to let them be involved in this fight. I think definitely since he feels more of a personal connection to it because he is one of these like part hollow, part soul reaper people. I think he definitely feels as if a lot of this is because of him, for him, so all of this attention is because of him. So I think he definitely feels a lot of anxiety, or what's a better word for that? Hesitation to get his friends involved any more than they already are, and he wants to make sure that he is strong enough to protect them before he lets them get anywhere near the conflict. Like, I feel like right now he really doesn't feel like he has the strength that he needs like he used to feel, even though having his conversation with Urukia I think really lifted his spirits and brought back some of his determination. I think he's still very aware that he isn't strong enough yet, so he had to kind of push Sado away a little bit to allow him to fight this Arrancar without having to worry about protecting his friend. I don't know if we're going to get any time spent with Sado and kind of seeing how he's dealing with the fact that he got really beat up during that first encounter with an Arrancar, because we had Ichigo dealing with it, and then we had Orihime dealing with her own struggles after that fight. So I don't know if we're going to get his perspective on that too. It looks like we've got a little bit too much going on right now to kind of focus on that. But I am looking forward to seeing some of these fights that are going to unfold. I know that we have Ichigo and Rukia fighting against Grimjo. We have Toshiro and Matsumoto fighting against one of them near Orihime's house. And then we have Ikkaku and I'll never remember his name, it's too long. And the other one, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but I will eventually. I'll remember it. Who are also fighting. So there kind of seem to be the... Am I missing someone? Ooh, and Renji. Renji is also fighting because he's staying with Urahara at Urahara's shop. So one of them showed up there too, so he's also fighting one. So we had 6 of the Arrancar that showed up. One of them was defeated by Rukia, so there are 5 left. So I think that's all of them. Grimjo, the one fighting Toshiro, the one fighting Renji, and the one fighting Ikkaku. Is there one that we don't know who they're fighting yet? Is there an unaccounted for Arrancar? Well, now I'm just nervous about that. Anyway, looks like we're gonna see Ikkaku fight. Let's get into episode 118 and try not to think about the fact that I have lost count of who is fighting who. In 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, my volume is really high. We're just gonna start with Totoro. He's gonna be in my lap because chances are this is gonna stress me out. I never do well. I never do super well when there's a fight. You know who I haven't seen in a while? Gin and Tosen. We've seen a little bit of Aizen. but we haven't seen those two. Not even like around Aizen when he was on his little like throne thing. Why does that make you suspicious of what they're off doing? I'm always suspicious of Keen. I'm always just waiting for him to do something. Okay. Oh, right, we gotta get through the summary. I still want to know who does the narration. Is it just a narrator? Is it not a specific character? You haven't seen anything about Visor either. Like, Shinji hasn't been in the last couple of episodes. He probably knows that something is going on, right? Like, he can sense all of the spirit pressure. Ooh, there were two fighting with Toshiro and Matsumoto. That's right, they had two. Cool, so I'm not missing one of the conflicts, which makes me feel better. Beat him up! Ooh, good dodge. Ooh, made him draw a sword. This must be very overwhelming for you. He's got this. I mean, he is part of Squad 11. They tend to fight because they love it. Oof. Is Ikkaku left-handed? Or is he just playing around? Ooh. Switched hands. That's what I was saying. Ooh, did he get his mask? Nice. I find it interesting that Ikkaku kind of fights with two weapons, and that he has like the sheath for defense and the sword for offense. Because not a lot of people so far that I've seen fight with like two weapons at their disposal. Is he ambidextrous? That's pretty cool. Yep. That's just what his squad is like, to be honest. Did he lose a tooth? Oh, he lost two. Hey, you should keep those. You can get them put back in. Do you guys have a good dental plan at the Soul Society? Ooh. So he has a fire Zanpakuto, I'm gonna say? Ooh. That's new. It's almost more like lava than fire. So do when Arenka release the Zanpakuto, does it manifest more as like a physical thing then? Because I know that hollows can kind of switch their appearance. We saw that with Grand Fisher. It's a lot, apparently. Hmm. I don't know if he's the same as the one earlier. He seems to have a little bit more going on. Less of a throwaway character. I don't think this will end well for you, Ichigo. Okay. Yes. This I understand. It makes sense though, like if them being turned into Arenka makes them like more humanoid, that they would take on like more of a hollow appearance when they released. Uh, I hope nobody was out walking, because that would not have been pleasant for them. Okay, cool. I'm not the only one thinking about this side. Cool. We have a mechanic for keeping people safe. Way to give up on your friend. I don't think I'll ever give up. Ikkaku? Ooh, still standing. Use what? We got a trick? We're gonna turn around? No way! Ooh, careful. We're only halfway? Oh, this episode has put me through a lot. I didn't know he had a Bankai. Oh, I want to see what it is. Ooh. Wow. That's a heck of a weapon. He has two, which is fits with his fighting style. Hmm. Ikkaku Han, I don't think you that works like that. I don't think dead people can be impressed by things. But okay. He did. Woo. Ooh. He does seem like an all or nothing kind of person. Oh, is that what the dragon turning means? Turning color? Really? Ugh. And you're not even gonna go back to Rukia and Ichigo, and you're not gonna like give me anything about what's happening there either. I mean, at this point, how many times have I ended an episode being upset because they ended it at like a important moment? I was not expecting Ikkaku to have a Bankai, but I don't hate it. I guess though, because there is like the implication that Squad 11 like has some like because there's so many powerful people in the squad that like the ranking of people isn't really like an accurate description of like the limit to their power. Like we've already seen that some of the people within that squad are like more powerful than like their seat suggests. So I guess I shouldn't be that surprised that Ikkaku has like more power than you might expect from his rank. Ooh, are we getting some flashbacks? Yes, so we learned some more about like Arrancar's like release and stuff. We've kind of seen that like they function a little bit differently from like just a Soul Reaper or even like a Soul Reaper with like a hollow power possession. I don't know. It makes sense that like having a hollow release a Zanpakuto would make them kind of take on some more kind of hollow characteristics, given that taking on like a Soul Reaper power makes them more humanoid. So it does make sense that like their Zanpakuto releases would kind of blend those two powers of like Soul Reaper and like the transformations that we've seen with hollows up to this point. So cool to kind of have that more of like a augmentation of like a physical thing as opposed to a weapon changing. I don't know if that'll be consistent with all of them or if some of them will manifest more in a weapon kind of way like a Soul Reaper would, or if it'll be more of this like body shift. It might depend on like what hollow they like, what class of hollow they were before they got transformed into an Arrancar. Like maybe depending on how humanoid their form was before will have some kind of impact on that. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Also super excited that Ikkaku has a Bankai, because you guys know how I feel about Bankai. I mean, Ikkaku's fits him, I think. It's a giant, scary looking weapon that he's just like put a bunch of power into, and it's like brute force. He's not thinking about like increasing his speed, increasing his defense. Like it's literally just like offensive, which I mean, makes perfect sense for him. Of course it is. Of course it's just like a big weapon that he can hit people with really hard. And I know that's an oversimplification because obviously he has some technique to the way that he uses it, but I mean, he's focusing all of it on offensive purpose. I like the way that Ikkaku fights with like both hands, like the way that he uses both his Zanpakuto and the sheath to fight and defend himself, and the fact that he like switches hands easily, like he doesn't focus on just having the one, so that like people can't predict his moves quite as well. They don't know which side he's attacking with and which side he's defending with. And I like that his Bankai, it also incorporates that, where there's like two blades to it. I mean, there's technically three if you count the one in the back, but there's two for like his hands. It kind of gives him a little bit more versatility than some of the other Soul Reapers we've seen who like only have one Zanpakuto and they use it like they only use it one-handed, like most of them do. with the exception of like the two captains we saw that actually have like two blades when they released the Zanpakuto, which apparently is like a rare thing. Most Zanpakuto don't have like double when their first Shikai release. So I like that Ikkaku kind of utilizes the sheath and like other ways of fighting to kind of give him a little bit more versatility, give him a little bit of unpredictability in the way that he's fighting, which is like kind of unexpected given that he does have a very seemingly straightforward way of fighting. Like he was discussed in this episode, like he doesn't really plan his attacks, he doesn't really think about it that much. He just sort of goes in and goes with his instinct and like his muscle memory and stuff. But the fact that he like trains in a little bit more of a versatile and unpredictable style means that even though he's going by instinct and muscle memory, he's still like utilizing the fact that he has like these two ways of fighting. I'm talking about this like I know anything about fighting. I don't know anything about fighting with weapons, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I thought it was interesting. I thought that was a cool kind of distinction to his fighting style as opposed to other Soul Reapers that we've seen. We had that. We also got to see a little bit of Ichigo and Rukia versus Grimjo. I am super worried about Rukia and Ichigo. I don't think they're going to do well in this fight. And the thing is that when Ichigo is in times of high stress and near death, his hollow tends to come out, and when the hollow Ichigo comes out, he tends to just kind of destroy whatever is in the way, and I feel like that might be bad, especially if Rukia is there trying to recover from like being punched through her stomach. I don't even know. It's too stressful for me to think about. So maybe we'll get some of that. It looks like in the next episode, though, we might be getting some flashback. We're gonna be seeing kind of some of Ikkaku before maybe joining a squad, or like early days of being in a squad, because there was him fighting Renji, and Renji has been in like a few different squads before he ended up with Byakuya's squad as the lieutenant, so it might have just been like that they were in the same squad at some point and they were like sparring together. But let's just watch episode 119 and see what information we can get. I don't know why I'm so weird right now. I don't know why this is a weird transition for me to pull off, but let's watch episode 119. In 3, 2, 1, go. I hope you can't hear the lawnmower that's going on in the background, but this is not the only time I have to film, so we're gonna do it. Will I need Totoro? Maybe. I don't know, it's flashback. Will it be intense flashback, or will it be like heartwarming flashback? He's in reach though. We got Totoro like easily accessible. I have nothing to say at this point except to jam out to the song. Especially since they keep like summarizing the episodes before it begins. So I'm like, I really need to do that. Oh, we're not getting it this time. The one time I'm like, I always summarize it, and then the summary's at the beginning of the episode. And now they're like, nah. Just get into it. Ooh, is this Ikkaku before he was in one of the squads, he looks a little rough and mad. Hmm? Oh, so they've known each other for a while. Oof. It doesn't seem necessary. He seems a bit like a bully, which is disheartening. Who want to die? Why on earth would anyone pick a fight with that kind of incentive? Unless it's like Zedeki, who of course wants to fight with whoever. Yeah. You got the wrong person's attention. It's a giant hole in the wall already. You're not strong enough though, Ikkaku. Ooh. It's weird to see Zedeki without the like spiked hair. I never really thought about like how you would choose who got into your squad because I feel like Zedeki wouldn't just like let the academy choose or something like that. Like he wouldn't go by like grades or something. He would want to fight them, right? Like you would have to fight Zedeki to get into his squad. So is that usually how he makes friends? Because Ikkaku and Ichigo became friends because Ichigo beat him but didn't kill him. I think the base partnership teacher student relationship on, but it sounds like Squad 11. He'll show up again. Yumichida. Ta. I gotta remember his name. I don't know if that's what he's gonna do. But he's gonna enjoy the fight. I didn't know that these two knew each other prior to being in the Soul Society, though. That's interesting. That they've been friends that long. So he's got this. Ooh. Ah. Kind of like a Hydra then. Or is it just that there are other ones? It could be that other ones just showed up. They always get in the way of him fighting, don't they? Sedeki's like, I can handle this. And then these three always show up to take some of his thunder, don't they? So I'm guessing they won. Renji. I'm used to thinking of Renji as being like higher up, like more authoritative. So it's interesting to see him like learning from Ikkaku. Because, just because Ikkaku has like a lower seat in his squad than Renji is like a lieutenant, doesn't mean that like, Ikkaku is like necessarily younger than him or that he is less powerful or less experience. But I guess I always thought of him that way. I wouldn't have thought that Renji would have learned some of his fighting from Ikkaku, but it's cool. I like that. Renji said that he had already been training to release his Bankai, right? Did he train that to get there with Ikkaku? Because Ikkaku has a Bankai. That that would be interesting. If like Renji like got through most of that training with Ikkaku. You didn't know each other's names? think Renji knows what to do with that. He's like, okay. Oh, they wanted him to be a captain. Interesting. I don't think he would want to be a captain. If he did, it would be like of Squad 11. Like, he would want to defeat Zedeki to become a captain. Yeah, I don't think Ikkaku would want to be, like, given the spot of captain. I think he would fight for the spot of captain. Or continue to fight with Zedeki. So they were trying to replace the captains. Ooh. That's not a good sign. That he lost one of his blades. Ooh. You've got, yeah, you got like a little cut there. Okay, their friendship is kind of cute. Yay! Oh, I'm so proud of Ikkaku. I'm glad that we got some time to actually, like, learn about Ikkagu's backstory. We also learned in this episode that Ikkaku has just like been bald for a while. It'd be so weird to see him with hair, actually. Who's fighting next episode? Is Ruki okay? Ooh. Ooh. Want to see Toshiro fight too? That was kind of a sweet episode, getting to see sort of Ikkaku's backstory and like the fact that he was born outside of like the Soul Society, much like Renji and Rukia were, where like they really didn't have a lot of money and they were kind of like on the streets and stuff. And he was with, I'm just gonna like, just give me the name so that I know. Yumichika, I think that's his name. You know, the fact that they were together and they've been friends for a long time, like before they became part of the Soul Society, before they joined a squad, and the fact that they kind of get each other on like a deeper level than like, and just like they work together, like the fact that they have known each other for so long means that like they understand what the other one's thinking a little bit more. We got to see like Ikkaku early on where he was kind of directionless, and that like fighting was all he really knew, it was all he was really good at, but he didn't have any like actual end goal, like he didn't have an actual path with that. He was just kind of wandering around fighting whoever he could find, instead of like having any kind of focus with it. And then meeting Zedeki and meeting someone who was as powerful as he was gave him like an actual focus for his energy and his passion for fighting and stuff. So like becoming part of the Soul Society, joining a squad because Zedeki was the captain of it, and then, you know, having the purpose of fighting with Zedeki and fighting with Squad 11 and having that be his purpose. And it's interesting that he was asked to, not only he was asked by Renji to like help him learn how to fight, which I think is really interesting, because like I was saying, I always thought of like Renji as like, because he's a lieutenant, I saw him as like older and like more authoritative and more experienced because of that. But like I've said before, like Squad 11 has like some weird exceptions with like where people are positioned in it, because there's so many powerful fighters in the squad. And like in the case of Ikkaku and Yumichika, it was just like because they want to be with Zedeki is why they're in that squad, and like their seats and like where they're ranked within the squad isn't actually important to them. It's like being by Zedeki's side when he's fighting is what's important to them. So it can't really use their rankings as like a way of seeing how powerful they are. So the fact that like Ikkaku helped Renji fight and trained him a lot kind of earlier on when he transferred from Aizen's squad probably is a big reason why Renji started training to be able to release his Bankai, is because of Ikkaku and Ikkaku having that already figured out. And also it's interesting that he was approached to be a captain as a replacement for the 3 that left. So, which makes sense, because if he has a Bankai, then he's at least at the level where most captains are, at least when they start, and you know can kind of power up and train up from there. You know, the fact that he is very much wanting to stay with Zedeki means that he's not going to do that. So, and hasn't told anyone about his Bankai, but the fact that he has that kind of technique, that power at his disposal. I find Ikkaku a very like interesting character in that like I feel like he has a very simple motivation compared to some of the other characters, but it's a genuine motivation. Like he just is himself. Like there's a simplicity to him, but like not in a bad way, because it's genuine and he's very loyal, and you know, I feel like he's a very open book kind of character. Like, what you get is what you see, right? So I feel like I like him for that. Like, I don't think I have to try and decipher who he is or what he wants, but at the same time he doesn't feel two-dimensional. Like, I also don't think that he's like not properly explored or like not properly depicted as a character. Like, I feel like just because he's a very open and genuine character doesn't mean that he's less complex. Like, he's just is. I don't know a good way to describe it. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. But looks like we're going to be getting into Renji's fight and Toshiro's fight, maybe Matsumoto as well, because she's fighting her own at Aranka during that one. Probably gonna stress me out some more. I would like to know if Rukia is okay and Ichigo, but I also have a feeling that we're not gonna get back to that fight for a little bit. Like, it's not gonna happen until like probably after the other fights. So we're gonna have to see Renji and Toshiro and Matsumoto fight first, and then we're gonna get the fight with Grimjo. So that's just something I'm gonna be able to stress about in the back of my mind for the next few days. It's fine. I'm fine. This is all perfectly fine. So I hope you enjoyed watching those episodes along with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!